So in this video, I am kind of changing gears from the last video. So if you guys did see the last video, which is the wiring part 3, I basically left off with making the engine harness, and at the end of that video I did say I was gonna basically repeat that same process with the rest of the wiring. So I was going to get started on that, but then I kind of decided against it. The real reason why I decided to kind of go against doing that same process with the rest of the wiring is it was going to take a really long time, and at that point I would honestly just rather build my own wiring harness from scratch, which I probably will do later on down the road anyway. But for now I did decide to just get split braided sleeving, just to make the process a lot faster, and that basically means I'm not gonna have to like depin any of the wiring or anything like that. So I'm just gonna be able to wrap it around, Kapton tape the ends of it, and then if I need to, I'll just run zip ties like every couple inches or so, and that's that. So since I decided to go that route, I am waiting for parts to come in and everything like that, and instead of just kind of sitting here twiddling my thumbs, I'm actually just getting the car ready to actually test drive. So right now I don't really have like a straight direction on what I need to do, because there's like a lot of little things here and there that I want to do to actually have it ready to drive. So I just need to go and get a lot of those things done, and hopefully we can drive the car this weekend. But other than that, in the next couple videos or so, I will make part 4 for the wiring video, so look out for that. So if you guys are as excited as I am, hit that thumbs up. Other than that, I'm gonna head over now and get this thing ready to drive. I'll see you guys there. Alright, and this is how she's sitting right now. So I mean, right off the gate you can see that there's a couple changes. So I really want to drive this thing, so I want to get started as soon as possible. So I'm just gonna quickly walk you guys through like some of the changes that have been done since the last video. So the first and obvious thing is I have a hood on this, and no, this is not the original hood. This is actually the hood that I got off like my donor CB7, and the reason why I have this hood on is because my factory hood, or my original hood, actually got damaged like right in that area right there. About a year ago I actually like rear-ended a Tacoma that damaged the hood and a little bit of the bumper. So, and I will be painting this later on down the road along with like the rest of the car and stuff. I'm not really too worried about that for now. I know it isn't the best looking thing, so I mean I might just paint the hood by itself just to like match the white and then kind of leave it from there. But I mean, I'm not really too concerned with it. It's a lot better than having like the huge dent on the hood and everything. In the engine bay, there's not too much that's different. The only thing, I did mount my catch can, so that's mounted, ready to go. The only thing that I'm waiting for on this is to actually get some AN bungs welded on my valve cover, or like the other valve cover that I'm using. And another thing, I have new velocity stacks on here, so you can see these are a lot longer. So velocity stacks are trumpets. So these are like 100 millimeters long or 90 millimeters long, which the other ones I think were 35 millimeters or 45 millimeters. So I mean, quite a bit longer, and these actually make a huge difference in the sound of the car too. And basically with these, the longer the velocity stack, that should help out with basically improving the velocity of the air going in, which should help out with like top end power. Alright, and in here it's looking like a complete mess again, but that's just because I've been like trying to wire everything up. So I did get the gauges wired up, and right now it's just kind of like roughly wired, but all the wiring is like mounted and everything. This is just kind of flopping right now, but I will get that bolted up. Then I have secured the location for the battery, so that's where the battery is going to be mounted, right there. So from there I just want to make my own ends for all the battery cables, like all of the battery wires, all the power wires, charge wires, everything like that. I want to make my own ends. I do want to get the dash on today. Like I said, I want to be able to mount that thing somewhere, and I want to be able to mount the prop valve. And another obvious thing that's sitting in here now is this beautiful K-tune shifter. I just love this thing. This thing is honestly like a work of art to me. And I mean, I have already ran this thing before, so I will let you guys know this thing has already been installed in my car for like a couple months before I even started this whole build process, and I absolutely love this thing. This is like one of the best upgrades I've ever done to the car. But from there, basically the only thing that I changed is how I mounted it. So before, I actually had this thing mounted just on like little riv nuts, and what was happening was the sheet metal where the riv nuts were on was actually getting bent and warped and stuff. So I decided to make these little aluminum like mounting brackets, and basically what that's doing is those brackets are mounting to the original factory locations for the shifter, which are like reinforced and they're a lot more sturdy. And then from there I'm just mounting the K-tune shifter on those brackets. So this thing's mounted super solid. So I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of questions on how I'm running this and how I'm able to run a K-tune shifter and all this stuff. So basically, for those of you guys who don't know, since the H and F series transmissions are actually like cable transmissions, you can actually run a K series shifter. So this is like the RSX style shifter. So along with this, I am running the K-tune Pro shifter cables as well. And along with the K-tune shifter and the shifter cables, I'm actually running the shifter bracket as well on the transmission. So they actually make this bracket specifically for H and F series transmissions. And this is to be able to adapt a K series shifter and shifter cables with an H series transmission. So that's basically all I'm doing. So I did go with like the complete K-tune set. So this is a K-tune bracket, K-tune shifter cables, and a K-tune shifter. But I think Hybrid Racing also makes their own like version of this whole setup, so you could also look at that as well. So yeah, so there you go. There's been a couple of updates since the last video, but not too many crazy changes. So right now I'm just gonna get started on all of the like battery cables and all that stuff, get that sorted out. Then from there I want to make sure all of the brake lines under the dash are actually fully secure and not touching against anything or like making contact on anything. From there I definitely want to get the dash in place so I can go ahead and figure out how I'm going to mount my brake proportioning valve and the kill switch right there. So that's what I'm going to get started on working on. Let's get to it. Alright, and there you go. Battery's mounted. Ain't moving anywhere. So that's good to go. So right now I'm just gonna go through and get started on making my own cable ends for all the battery cables. Alright, let's get to it. Alright, and here's the cable all done, if you guys can see that. So I really do like these ends instead of those like copper lugs, just because I think these look a lot more clean. And then I did like heat shrink the ends and then just wrap it with this looming, so it looks pretty clean now. So this one right here is basically the cable for the battery. This is like the ground cable for the battery. So that's all mounted. And then from here, I'm gonna go ahead and do the power cable. So for the actual like power cable, I don't think it's long enough to route this way and go all the way around that way. So I think I'm gonna route it from here, go down, and then route it from the inside, like that. Alright, so I just made this cable right here, And on this end, I actually bent it into like a 90-degree end. And with the kill switch, I'm basically planning on having the kill switch pointing out towards the dash. So since that's gonna happen, it's gonna mount up like this, so it can just go straight out like that. And that's the reason for the 90-degree end. So yeah, so there you go, all heat shrunk, and you can kind of see the adhesive in there is kind of sticking out the edges, so that's good. Alright, and there you go. You can see the starter cable ran through, so you can kind of see this compared to this. So you can see that this whole lug, this big thing, is all a conductive terminal. So I mean, basically anything that makes contact with that can be, it's getting power, you know, so that's not really good to have, and it's really easy to short. So I basically swapped it out for these smaller terminals, heat shrink the ends, sleeved the cable, so now it's kind of matching with the rest of the wiring harness. And then now I have these boots right here that I could put over it, so that should be nice and protected. Now I just need to get that end inside and plug it up to the kill switch once I get that mounted. So I am just waiting for that. Alright guys, so I just cut this little plate out right here, and basically this is to cover this right here, like kind of like a stereo plate. So basically with this, what's going on right now is the corners are very sharp. Each corner is just a 90-degree end, and on all of these they're like radiused ends. So what I'm going to do is get the angle grinder with the sanding disc, and then just kind of sand the edges down and sand the corners down. And I'm just gonna work it little by little until I get it to a point where it could fit in here. And then once it fits in here, you can see that there's there's these tabs sticking up, so they should rest on these tabs here. And once it's resting on those tabs, then I'm gonna figure out what to put in the back to basically mount it in place. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and work on this, try to get this to fit in here. Then I'm gonna work on getting it secured, then we'll go from there. Alright guys, and I got this plate made right here, so but yeah, it'll basically fit in place like that. And right now it is a really tight fit on here, like if I hit it on the other side, it's pretty much chilling. Although I mean, this isn't going to be the final mount, like it can still be pushed out from the back, but again, it's like a really tight fit, so if I really needed to, I could run it like this and it'll most likely be fine. But I am going to be running some little like 90-degree tabs in the back, and I'm just gonna bolt down to those right here in the front, and that should hold it all in place really well. So now from here, I did go ahead and actually get some holes drilled out right here. So this metal piece right here actually bolts down to the whole bezel right here, so it has 3 bolt holes. And the idea that I have is I'm actually going to use this metal piece, since it has some strength, I'm actually going to use that to mount this guy in place. So I don't have this cut out right now, but basically the idea is to mount it something like this, you know, and it's just going to be sticking up through there, and it'll be sticking out of a hole through that plate right there. So it'll kind of be sticking out right there, and I can adjust it on the fly. And then from there, I am going to be mounting my kill switch right here. So with the kill switch, I actually did run into some issues. So on the back side of this plate, I actually measured out how much room a single DIN stereo would take up. So this right here is about all the area that would be taken up by a single DIN stereo. So then from here, this is the space or the area that I have to play with. for the prop valve and the kill switch. Oops. And the kill switch. So with the kill switch, since it is a round switch, it was actually going to be too big, so it was originally like this. And if you look, you can see that there's not enough room for it to kind of fit in place and have room for the stereo. So what I went ahead and did is took the holes and I actually just sanded these down to flat edges on the top and bottom. So now if you look, it's like perfectly enough space for it to fit in there. So this will be mounted kind of on the back side, and the only thing that's going to be showing on the front side is just this stem right here. So it will be kind of mounted like this, you know, kind of like this. So only this stem will be showing on the outside of the plate. So from there, I do need to go and get some bolts so I can go ahead and mount the prop valve right there. Once I mount the prop valve, I can go ahead and cut the hole out for the prop valve to fit through. Alright, take a look at where I'm at right now. So yeah, so you can see the dash is in. I did start to mount the steering wheel and stuff, and I went ahead and started kind of cleaning everything out in the interior. So you can kind of take a look. There's the dash in place. You can kind of see I don't have the bezel in place yet, so I haven't really started mounting that stuff up yet. I just gone through and just kind of make sure that everything is routing the way I want. And then if you guys take a look under there, all of those wires down there kind of going under that panel, those wires are all of the wires for the gauges. So those I need to go and source out to a ground and power. So that's where this is, and batteries mounted. I did plug up that harness right there going to the trunk. So yeah, so from here, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started on getting all of the wiring connected back there under the dash, sorting everything out over here with the bezel. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and work on all of these little things that I need to do. But other than that, I'll get back with you guys when I have an update here. Alright, so go ahead and peep the progress. So I went ahead and kind of just put the bezel in place just so I can go ahead and set the plates in place and make sure that everything will reach. So right now the only thing that is not really reaching so good is the cable that's going to the starter. So that one's just slightly short from what I'm seeing so far. But I do need to just go ahead and get the kill switch kind of like mocked up into place and see if everything's going to be long enough. But if not, then I am going to have to actually go get a longer cable for the starter. So that kind of sucks. But other than that, everything else is looking good. I got the seat belts on, bezel on, and yeah, just a bunch of little things. So once I'm done kind of putting everything in place and stuff, we'll go through, take the covers out, and then vacuum everything and just kind of put everything in place and get it ready for the seats to go in. Alright, so I'm pretty sure I forgot to mention this, But since I have pretty much went a different direction and I'm focusing on trying to test drive the car, basically I got everything wired up and everything, and I left the car to my dad over the week. And during this past week, my dad actually has been kind of working on the base map and everything. Since I did get the wideband connected, he's actually able to get the air fuel ratio and get a better bass tune in here. So at this point in time, this thing is running pretty well actually. I think tomorrow I will start it, and if I do end up test driving it, you'll obviously hear it. So now we basically just have to tune it under load. So that's why we want to test drive it, so we could actually put it under load and then build the base map from there. So that's really the goal with test driving it and stuff, just to get the engine ready so it can drive, so I can break it in and then actually take it to go get dyno tuned. So I'm gonna keep working. I'll get back with you guys with an update. Alright, here's another update. So this is what the little panel is looking like right now. So I got the kill switch installed. So that's good to go. I just don't have it connected right now because I am still gonna be working on this tomorrow because I need to do the prop valve right there. Alright guys, so I think I am done working on this thing for today. I'm honestly really stoked on the progress that I made in here. It is starting to look like a normal car interior again, so super hyped about that. And honestly, things went by really smoothly today. So yeah, so I'm super excited. So I'm gonna head out of here. I'll be back first thing in the morning tomorrow. Hope you guys are excited. Alright guys, just coming back to you with an update here. So I went ahead and got the prop valve all mounted in place. So if you guys can see, this thing is super solid, and now I could adjust the brake bias on the fly. And right now I have the kill switch mounted in place, but there is one issue. The cable that's going from the kill switch over to the starter actually isn't even long enough. So right now I am gonna have to take that off and just kind of like mount it down here somewhere, just for the time being, until I actually get a longer cable. But yeah, there's that, looking pretty good. And then from there, this is where the actual stereo is gonna go. Pretty damn clean. Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I've
definitely seen way worse from engines that they still even run anyway. So. I'm not worried at all.
You're gonna see a lot more once it breaks in.
Once it actually breaks in, yeah. Alright, and I just went through and changed the oil in the car. So one thing I'm super excited about, I did not even have to lift the car to change the oil. I literally just put a pan down there, drained it out, and then the filter's right here, so really easy to drain that out. And along with that, when we got the Honda filter out, we did cut that open just to kind of inspect it, check it out, make sure the engine is happy and healthy and there's not anything like catastrophic going on in there, you know. So yeah, so everything is looking good at the moment, and from there I did just fill it up with some Motul brake-in oil. So we will just run that for like 100 miles or so, and then change it to the normal oil that I'll be running. Alright, so this is how she's currently sitting. So I got the driver's seat on, I have the floor plates mounted, steering wheel is somewhat on, I do have the bezel put in place, and right there you can see the prop valve. So yeah, that thing isn't moving anywhere. Later on, I will be cleaning up these shifter brackets that I made there, just because those have super sharp edges and stuff. So these are checkered sports floor plates. So the way I installed these, I basically just put riv nuts on the floor on all four corners, and then just bolted those guys down. So nice and secured. Pretty much the same thing with the battery as well. And yeah, everything in the interior is looking good. I don't think I've mentioned this in this video yet, but for anybody who's in the like Phoenix area in AZ and is really nice with TIG welding and is down to weld on some AN bungs onto a valve cover for me, hit me up, let me know. Or if you guys know anybody who's saucy with the TIG welder in the Phoenix area, let me know. I really want to get these AN bungs welded on really soon, and I'm sure there's a lot of welders in my area. I just really haven't gotten out and like tried looking around yet, just because I haven't really gotten there. But if any of you guys are watching this video, do know of anybody, or if you're good at welding yourself, just let me know, hit me up, and yeah, let's get it. So I honestly don't know where I left off on the last update, but basically at this point I have both front seats in. The shift cables are all connected, so it does go into gear and everything, so that's good. I don't have that fully mounted yet, just because I do need to make some modifications to that. But the prop valve is fully connected. I do have brakes, I do have a clutch. So yeah, so I mean, right here, as of right now, everything is fully ready to test drive. And as far as the engine and the tune and everything like that, we have gone through and ran through a couple of little bugs here and there. So mainly, one of the weird things that was going on was it almost seemed as if there was like a misfire going on cylinder 1. So we were kind of hunting that down. We were thinking maybe it was injector, but then we did find it was getting fuel. We did find it was getting spark. So we did find it is firing, but it just didn't seem to be firing as efficiently as the other cylinders, if that makes sense. The main reason why we even started tracking that down is because it would be idling, and it was idling kind of rough, and we would pull this spark plug wire out, no change at all. Then we would pull any of these 3 spark plug wires out, and then it would idle very rough to the point where it would almost die out. So this was the only one that was really not affecting anything. And then from there, when we would check the spark plugs, it seemed as if it was firing, but it was just running super rich. So that was super weird. This spark plug was the only one that was really clean, and then these 2 looked like they were running kind of lean. So from there, we basically tried to sync the ITBs as best as we could. So what we did was we just took the vacuum ports down at the bottom, and we just hooked up a vacuum gauge to it and let it idle, and we just adjusted each ITB to kind of like match the same amount of vacuum going in at idle. And as soon as we adjusted them and kind of synced that up, it was like a night and day difference just in the idle alone. And then after we did that, if you were to take the spark plug wire out, it would actually drop the idle like it should. So after we did that, everything was acting normal and running really smooth. So at this point, I just need to fully wire those gauges, just so I won't run the risk of anything like shorting out with those gauges. It is fully ready to test drive and start breaking the engine in and everything. The only thing I do need to work on moving forward are all of these holes where the wires are going through. I need to make sure that I get grommets around all of those before actually like driving this car a lot. So just for test driving purposes, for these next couple of days, it's not a really big deal. But moving forward, if I actually want to like drive this thing around and break it in and stuff, I am gonna need to take care of that. So don't go too crazy in the comments. I will take care of that. All right, and really quick, just so you guys can hear this thing start up. Start it, just so you guys can hear how fast it starts up. It is a little rattly in here because I don't have that bolted down, so it is a little rattly in here right now. There are some loose things. But yeah, there you go. It runs smooth. Alright guys, so there you go. She is fully ready to test drive. I am beyond excited right now. So since this video is already pretty long as it is, and I really want to get as much footage as I can while test driving the car and maybe a little bit of street tuning and all that, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up here just so I can save all that extra time for more footage of me driving this thing. So keep an eye out for next week. I will be dropping the next video as soon as possible so you guys can see this thing driving and you guys can hear those ITBs. So if you guys are enjoying the progress of this build, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And if you guys are looking forward to seeing this thing tear up the streets, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. See you guys in the next one. Later.